Welcome to episode 56 of Central Intelligence Cinema. Today we've got an intel report for you to sift through with all the latest from Bond, Mission Impossible, and more. But let's just get into it, shall we? Take it away, Pierce.
Beg your pardon, forgot to knock.
Welcome to the CIC, initiating security clearance.
My name is Napoleon Solo. Bond. James Bond.
Natasha Romanoff.
Ethan Hunt. Felix Leiter.
Elsa Faust. Identity confirmed.
Now, pay attention, 007.
Welcome to Central Intelligence Cinema, a podcast dedicated to spy movies and secret agent pop culture.
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Do you expect me to talk?
I'm in the middle of an interrogation. This moron is giving me everything.
Yeah, baby!
Special agent, you're not having a very special day, are you?
But remember, nothing ever goes according to plan.
Tom, what do you think you're doing?
Keeping the British hand up, sir. The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Recording from an undisclosed location full of drawers full of information that you want to know. It's a Central Intelligence Cinema podcast. I'm Jason Greenberg, and with me, as always, Ben Esslinger.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jason. And welcome back to the CIC, the spy movie podcast that would not only go see David Arnold in concert, but also apply to be on 007 Road to a Million Season 2 if either of them were available to do stateside. Not that I'm bitter or anything.
I think you're a little bitter.
I'm a little bitter. Just a touch. But welcome back. Finally back. Had a little unplanned, kind of a planned break, but not really a planned break. Unfortunately, someone thwarted our plans. Someone more devious than Blofeld, more diabolical than the galaxy. My mother came and stayed with me. It kind of threw us off a little, but we're back.
She going around, Mini-Me, would you take me to this thing?
Yes.
Mini-Me, I've never seen this before. Let's go there.
Let's go there. You don't need to do a podcast. People don't need to hear the silly spy shit from you anymore. But yeah, we're finally back, and we've got an intel report on board for you. Got some good stuff to talk about. But hey, we also have shout-outs.
Shout-outs! We need like a 90s David Letterman style Paul, what's his face, little play out thing with the whole band. It's time for shout out.
We really need to make one of those.
Yeah. Schaefer, Paul Schaefer.
Paul Schaefer and the world's most dangerous. Is it the world's most dangerous band?
World's most dangerous band. Yes, sir. Next thing you know, you hear windows getting crushed as we're throwing pencils through fake windows.
But yeah, we have a shout out here. This person asked to stay anonymous, so I will respect their wishes. This person wrote, "Hey guys, love your podcast. I'm a loyal listener during my morning and evening commutes. You guys are informative. We're informative."
Hold on a second. We have noted on numerous occasions we are neither informative nor scholarly in any way. I want to just put this disclaimer out there. If you feel like you're getting useful information from us, you might want to check out some other podcasts to balance that out.
You know what, though? I'm going to use this as a quote. When we promote this going forward, I'm going to put in quotes, informative and funny, anonymous.
Yes. Thank you, Anonymous.
Yes, indeed. And then he also went on to request reviews for 2 films, Spy Game from 2001 and The Recruit from 2003, which are both pretty good shouts, especially Spy Game. I know that's been on our list for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I think both of them are on the master list.
Yes.
The only list allowed at the Central Intelligence Cinema podcast.
That is correct.
But it has been duly noted that those are bumped up to request status.
Yes,
so,
which do get a much higher
chance of actually getting done unless you're ruining a theme we're looking for or a particular reminiscing moment we're going for.
That's right.
Or we just don't fucking care. Which is never the case because we love our tens of listeners.
We do. And then he went on to finally say thanks and keep up the great work. So apparently we're doing some great work.
Well, as long as we have one person who thinks that's the case, we will continue doing this podcast.
Damn Skippy. Also, shout out to Colombia. We got our first download from Colombia.
And that's the country, not the manufacturer of fine outdoor goods.
Correct.
Okay,
that
just
is
making
correct.
sure. Because Mama Gert used to scare me when I was a kid. Frankenstein never scared me as a child, but Mama Gert, ooh, 'cause she's fast. Like a marsupial.
We did, in fact, get a download from the home of the cocaina.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And also, I don't think I've ever said this before, but man, shout out to New York. We're getting mad downloads from New York. Yeah, a lot of people in NYC, man. NYC is down with the CIC.
We're down with CIC. NYC.
Brooklyn! So, thanks for listening. And hey, if you, tens of listeners, want to show off your love of the CIC to friends or family, why not visit our merch store? We have just added our official CIC Field Agent tee. It's pretty swanky. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Jason's actually wearing one right this very moment.
I believe in our product, and so should you.
That's right. And you can find the link to our little store at the bottom of our show description. But another way that you can show your love, which doesn't cost a thing, you can like, follow, subscribe, rate, review, all those great things on your favorite podcast provider. The glowing 5-star reviews will help us show up quicker in searches for stuff like us.
Silly spy shit.
Damn right. But should we get into some intel, buddy?
Well, it is why we're here.
All right. Well, let's do this.
Looking for a news story?
Impress me. Transmitting CIC Intel dossier.
They'll print anything these days.
Okay, intel. So, Jason, we are not on the road. We're not on the road anymore.
We're done with roads.
We're done with roads.
We're going. We don't need roads.
That's right. However, I will mention our first little bit of intel here is that Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is coming to digital October 10th. And then on Blu-ray and 4K and yada yada ray on October 31st. I believe it's like 2 weeks later in the UK for that date. So we will be able to watch it again and again and see those magnificent close-ups
of Tom Cruise's biceps.
Sure, that's it. That's in no way is it anyone else in that cast. Jason's keeping very tight-lipped about that. Haley Atwell. Yes. So that's exciting.
I would have to say, once it comes out and we're all ready to go, I'm sure there'll be some sort of review of the film.
Yeah.
In the immediate future from that point.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a pretty heavy docket for the remainder of the year. We're gonna let the tens of listeners sort out their feelings about Dead Reckoning Part 1 before we actually do.
It won't be like the following week or anything like that.
Right.
But just know that it's coming. So
it is coming. Because
if you're ready to be divisive about it, get ready to be divisive about it.
That's right. Our favorite punchline is back in Intel. Argylle.
Now with 50% more hair.
That's right. So while we now know that Argylle is set to release on February 2nd of next year.
Tentatively. I mean, it doesn't state tentatively, but I think it's implied.
I mean, it kind of is, considering we don't have any sort of trailer. We've seen literally 7 seconds of
hair.
Bad hair from Henry Cavill. However, we did just find out that director Matthew Vaughn is slated to be a panelist at New York Comic Con on Saturday, October 14th. So, and I believe actually you can watch his panel online. I think it's on, of all places, Tumblr, actually.
That's not unusual.
No?
No,
they do that?
Because like a lot of gamer stuff also does like...
do they?
Like Halo does their championship series.
I'm not
there.
hip with the kids.
I only watch that stuff because I get free swag for my Halo game. I could give two shits about watching people shoot each other. I'd rather be playing. But
I didn't realize you get free swag and that sort of thing. So the big question, I guess, is, are we finally going to get a teaser at anything at New York Comic Con? At the very least, are they going to see it? And then there'll be stories told about this footage that no one's seen except for people at New York Comic Con.
And I mean, usually when you get that stuff, you get the trickle down. It comes out a week later, 2 weeks later, and you can see what it is. But the problem with Matthew Vaughn going to Comic Con is it could have nothing to do with or anything to do with a movie and everything to do with comics because of what he does.
I know that the article that I read did say that he was going to talk about some of his previous movies. So he is going to talk movies. I just don't know if he's going to talk about Argylle all that much.
Right. Well, considering it's not really a movie and it's all made up, like whose line is it anyway? Probably not. Unless maybe Cavill shows up with some of the other actors and they do like an improv version of Argylle.
Well, that'd be something to see as well. I don't know if I'd pay money for that, but I'd.
Well, if they put the hair thing on his head, I absolutely would pay money for that.
That is true. I would pay money to see that. But speaking of things that do hopefully exist. Alex Rider, Season 3. So, I thought it was going to be out by now, but we have gotten some updates. On September 14th, Richard Burrell, who is a producer for Alex Rider, I looked it up on IMDb, he's done 2 episodes on this new season, mentioned to one of there's maybe, you know how we have tens of listeners?
Yeah, there's like ones of Alex Rider superfans?
There's like 5s of Alex Rider superfans out there, but they're out there. They exist. I've seen them, and I've interacted with them. They're very nice chaps, but they were interacting with Richard Burrell on Twitter and asking about whether VFX is done with this new season, because they're constantly like they're only 5s, but they're tenacious. They're a tenacious 5. Let me tell you.
Wasn't that like a superhero group in like the late 70s? Tenacious 5.
I believe they wrote the greatest song in the world. Oh wait, no, it's just a tribute.
Oh.
But so he wrote back and said, episode 5 done. Episodes 6 and 7 should be done by the end of next week. And keep in mind, this was on September 14th, so this is all in the past already. That just leaves the end of episode 8 to complete. So apparently they're pretty much done with the season as far as putting it together. On the same day, the official Twitter account for Alex Rider TV posted saying something exciting is coming soon. So I'm guessing we're getting a premiere date very soon. Also, Anthony Horowitz, the author of Alex Rider, he also said the same thing, that we're set to get a premiere date very, very soon. So hopefully we'll get to see that and talk about it in a future Intel report.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also in TV, and this is crazy because I'm only just finding out about this, and this was talked about, I believe, in July, and it just never hit my radar until now. But apparently there's a remake of Mr. and Mrs. Smith happening as a TV series on Prime Video, starring Donald Glover and Maya Erskine in the lead roles. So I saw a photo of it. Wasn't great. But I did find on YouTube, you can find this very small sneak peek of the series on the Prime Day 2023 exclusive sneak peek video thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that looked better. It's one of those things where they just like use the same photo for all these little stories, and the photo's just not great. They just didn't choose very well because, like I said, in the video, it looked a little bit more promising. And I like Donald Glover, so I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I feel, well, because, most of you who have seen the movie, if you remember from the movie, it was definitely more of a comedy bend in terms of what was happening and going on. And he certainly can do comedy. I mean, there's absolutely no question of that.
Right.
I wonder if it's going to have the same level of physicality that the movie kind of engendered.
Yeah.
As a TV show, it feels like you're not trying to cram all the explosions in the last 20 minutes of the film and whatnot. But I'm certainly willing to give it a chance.
It's a little weird just because the original movie is made with arguably the 2 most attractive humans in the universe.
Right.
And so it's a little weird. There's only one way to go from there from a looks perspective.
Right.
So, but nonetheless, again, Donald Glover, he's a funny guy and he's very talented. So,
and I think it really, the basic premise does lend itself to a long form.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Particularly if it's a slow burn on them figuring it out.
Yeah.
As long as that's not half of the first season.
Well, and see, that's my concern. My concern is that they're not actually going to find out that each other are spies.
Until like the end.
Yeah, until the very end of the season. But hopefully that's not the case.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Also on IMDb, it mentioned that John Turturro, Paul Dano, and Michaela Cole is also going to be in this show. So that's a decent cast. So I'll be curious. Jason, I can't believe it. We actually get to talk Bond. We actually get to talk about Bond.
Who is Bond?
James Bond, the international super spy.
Oh, I remember that guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't there like a movie of him like, I don't know, gosh, like 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah, there's 25 of them, in fact.
Really?
Yeah.
But not like recently, though.
Well, like 2 years ago. Yeah.
No, it's got to have been like 80 or 90 years ago since that last film.
It feels like 80 or 90 years ago. But out of nowhere, there has been this fireburst of Bond intel that has finally came back into the stratosphere that we can actually talk about. That's not just entirely scuttlebutt. And speaking of out of nowhere, I mean, this just like suddenly popped in with no tease, no anything. Apple Arcade announced that on September 29th, we are getting Cypher 007, Escape the Mind Trap. According to the write-up on the Mac App Store, Cypher 007 will put players in the shoes of James Bond as you revisit some of his most iconic moments. The criminal mastermind Blofeld and head of Spectre has once again hatched a plan to sabotage his archenemy, James Bond. This time he has utilized brainwashing techniques known as the Mind Trap.
You know, that's a Star Trek episode. I just want everybody to realize that.
Holding Bond captive in a mental prison in an attempt to turn him into the ultimate double agent. I almost wonder if they are playing... well, it's a totally different story. Anyway, there's hints of all sorts of influences in here. Play as Agent 007 on his most challenging mission yet, escape the Mind Trap, defeat Blofeld, and put an end to the Cypher program. Which also has, now that I'm thinking about it too, this sounds a little bit like the Ipcris file as well, on top of everything else. Gather intel as you play through different environments with the help of characters from MI6 like Q, M, and Moneypenny. Play through a number of immersive levels filled with obstacles, opponents, and objectives, increasing in difficulty as you progress. The one bummer to this announcement is that you can't actually own it. You just have to have that subscription to Apple Arcade. Mm-hmm. I did like the fact that it's a very illustrative style that they went with instead of trying to make it look like Pierce or Daniel or...
Well, that's the thing. If he's revisiting iconic places,
right,
it's probably every Bond.
Right.
So they're going to have a amalgam Bond.
A neutral looking Bond that just sort of fits a... Which
brings up the question, if you had to take all the features of the existing James Bonds that were out there, who gets the hair, who gets the eyes, who gets the nose, the shape of the head?
Oh, there have been so many people that have used Chat GPT to take all 6 pictures of the Bonds and combine them and let AI do its wizardry to come up with what Bond would look like if you combined attributes from all of them.
And it turns into like some kind of like sludge monster like Chet from Weird Science, you know? And then Q just has to walk over.
Buttwad.
I did think that was one of our best opportunities.
So yeah, we're getting a game in a week. That's exciting. Certainly since the game from IO probably won't be out for another year or two. The one that is being made by the same people who made Hitman. They're making that really big Bond game, but that's a ways off, obviously. I don't know. I'll probably give it a try. I'll probably see if I can get like a free month, like a trial.
Trial and see what it's all about.
Yeah. But as we mentioned in the intro, also, Bond composer David Arnold is going to be performing live across the UK in November, including London, Newcastle, Glasgow, Birmingham, Manchester, and Cambridge, where he'll be on stage with a, quote, stripped-back performance never seen before.
So it's just him one-man band with a drum and cymbals, the trumpet attached to the
That
left.
would be, if he did that, I would fly over there to see that. But no, he will be there with a 6-piece band instead of his usual orchestra. So, Mr. Arnold, you are coming to the U.S. next, right? Right? Please.
Don't hold your breath.
Yeah, I know. Would be nice, though. But hey, I guess I shouldn't complain entirely, because I got to see Duran Duran last month, and they did play Vito a Kill.
And they were here.
And they were here.
In the United
physically
States of America.
in the United States of America. So that was pretty great. Also, in collector news, So this has been met with mixed emotions online. The 007 store, in partnership with Factory Entertainment, announced pre-ordering for their Goldfinger DB5 ejector seat button prop replica. So for a mere $130, you too can have a non-working gear stick with a button in the middle of it.
Don't we all want one of those?
That's right. I mean, I already have a cigarette lighter fire missiles button that doesn't do anything. So I'm just saying. I just wish that they would have made something that you could actually mount onto to a gear shift.
If you were gearhead enough, you could make it work.
That is true. You could probably make it work.
If you have a manual, it's a lot easier.
This is true. Unfortunately, my manual would not work for that. But anyway,
you're just not motivated enough. I can get that thing on there for you.
Great. My reverse won't work, but you'll get it on there, damn it.
Hey, you don't need to go backwards when you got an ejector seat.
That's right. That's right. Honestly, I might just go in for the $19 You Only Live Twice lunchbox that just came out. But anyway, moving on.
Go with your pinball machine.
Yeah. And as we mentioned in the intro as well, the James Bond reality TV series, 007's Road to a Million, has been renewed for a second season, despite the fact that season 1 hasn't even come out. So, but I guess either A, it screened well, or they're just doubling down on it and just deciding to go for it. So,
I mean, it can't cost nearly as much money to produce a series like that as it does to produce a scripted show, right?
Oh, yeah.
People running around London looking for clues?
Pretty much. I mean,
cameras following them?
Yeah, that's pretty much.
And I feel like, you don't even have to have real cameras, except people running around with iPhones.
I don't know about that, but
I don't know. I don't work in the industry, but still,
yeah, no, it's definitely cheaper. It's definitely cheaper. So yeah, it has been renewed for a second season, and they made the casting calls public for new contestants. Once again, us folks here on this side of the Atlantic will not be able to play in their reindeer games, but we don't have a promo or a release date for season 1 yet. Who knows when we're going to even see that? But
maybe they could do like Ethan Hunt's Road to a Million out here in the U.S.
Oh my God, I would so do that.
But everybody has to run to everything. That's the key.
That's right. I wonder, it would be interesting if they did something like that, but you'd have like teams of 5 then. Like
Mission Impossible's Run to a Million.
Exactly. I'm in. Just don't make me run. I got a bad knee. And, finally, in nowhere near reliable news, Jason, but we got
my favorite kind.
But man, we got to talk about it because Twitter went mad over this shit. So, World of Real, a site that is quickly becoming synonymous with other sites like Screen Rant and Giant Freaking Robot as being entirely unreliable for fucking anything. They first touted this rumor that Christopher Nolan was in talks with Barbara Broccoli to become the Bond 26 director. In fact, it said that he was in negotiations for both 26 and 27 for the next 2 movies. Nobody else picked up this story except about a week later, NME, which is a music magazine in England.
Their name's literally NME, like enemy? NME, but it's supposed...
I think it stands for New Music...
I don't know. I feel like their marketing department should have workshopped that a little bit more, but okay. Please continue.
Right. So they picked up the same story like a couple days later, which sort of somehow gave it more weight just because another...
But were they bringing it up off of World of Real's story? Or
yeah, they're referencing World of Real for sure. I don't know. It's silly. So yeah, the story went on to say that he was in negotiations for 2 movies, but the sticking point was that he basically wanted full control, which of course, as we all know, would never happen. If this story is even real at all.
Well, that's what kind of makes me wonder. Nobody's going to go to Christopher Nolan to do a movie and then have any expectation he's going to let them have anything to do with it.
Right.
Christopher Nolan.
It's Christopher Nolan. He's going to bring in Syncope. He's going to bring in his wife to help him. Yeah. He's going to bring in his people to do all the things that he wants to do. And if you're not on board with that, then sorry, sucker.
Yeah.
He's got 15 other great ideas that are going to make a ton of money just like Oppenheimer did.
Yeah, I would love to see a Ridley Scott James Bond movie, but you're never going to see that for the same reason.
Right, exactly.
Ridley's like, no, I don't do that.
Right, exactly.
But let me show you the movies I've made before. Yes?
Yes.
All right, so this is what you do. You trust me, you don't. No? All right, fine. I'll go make another Gladiator movie then. Fuck you.
Right, exactly. And this story just loses its credibility even further as it then goes on to say that Broccoli's backup director choices include Danny Boyle, which would never happen after what happened. It'd be great, but it won't happen since he was supposed to do Bond 25 and then everything exploded. Denis Villeneuve. And then this one's the real clincher is Paul Greengrass, who did the Bourne movies, which would never happen because that whole franchise is not a fan. Anyone associated with that franchise is not real big fans of Bond. Like Matt Damon went on record basically saying that he didn't think much of James Bond.
Yeah, but that's Matt Damon.
I think that there was too much criticism of Quantum of Solace. Here's this, you've got Quantum of Solace, which is this heavily criticized Bond movie that looks like a Bourne movie in some ways. And now you're going to say you're going to bring in Greengrass to direct a Bond movie? I highly, highly doubt that.
I think that it's a distinct possibility and you would be very surprised. But everybody's stealing from everybody. The last two James Bond movies borrowed very heavily from Mission Impossible.
That's true.
You follow the trends. It's got nothing to do with anything else. The Bourne stuff stole from Mission Impossible as well.
That's true.
It's very incestual.
Yes.
Because they're all telling the same story.
Yeah, more or less.
It's just one guy's variations. English, one guy is American, the other guy is Bourne, and
right.
Goodwill Hunting, and but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a spy story, it's an intrigue story. Particularly with Bourne and with Mission Impossible, it's the good guys being chased by their own people, which more or less the last few Bond movies have been the same thing in some capacity.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not the problem of the director. It's rotating our things to just letting them be spies instead of enemies of the spies.
Right.
I don't know. It's a criticism.
My point is simply that these choices don't make a whole lot of sense given the public narrative of anything.
Well, by the time this actually happens, any narrative that's happening right now is going to be completely forgotten after 85 news cycles because it's still 6 years in the future.
This is true. But I will also say one other little bit of scuttlebutt that came online, which was even more laughable to me. Then this guy named Daniel, I don't know if it's pronounced Reitman or Richtman.
I would say Reitman. It sounds better.
Daniel Reitman, who on his Twitter bio page said that CNBC called him a Twitter influencer and writer. So I don't know. All I know is he's got a lot of followers and he seems to be somewhat influential. But he posted a rumor that Matthew Vaughn is now allegedly the top choice to direct James Bond. So that got a good laugh out of me.
So are they got like betting odds in Vegas like this, like they do with the next Bond actor?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it means nothing.
It's all horseshit. It's all horseshit. And this got me to thinking a little bit about when you think we'll actually get some movement on a Bond movie. And I gotta be honest. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I don't think we're gonna get another Bond movie for another 5 years from right now. I know that's grim, but I honestly think they're gonna sit on this thing for a while. I just don't see it. I mean, I hope they prove me wrong, but man, at the snail's pace that they've been moving, now we've got a writer's strike. Now we've got an actor's strike. Arguably, the writer's strike they're getting close, allegedly, but we haven't heard a peep out of the writers or out of the actor's strike yet, as far as if they've made any headway with the actors.
But how does that work with what's basically an English production?
I don't know. That's
if they hire English writers. I mean, what are the normal duo that does the writing for this stuff? Are they English or are they American?
That is true. I mean, it depends on if they get Purvis and Wade or if they're going with. I mean, it could be one of those situations. If they do get somebody like a Nolan who does like to write his own material, so then you're dealing with that. And I don't know if he's part of the.
Well, I'm sure that they're all part of SAG and the Directors Guild and the Writers Guild of America. Right. But if it's an all-English production,
right,
does it matter?
I don't know.
Other than personal, like, we're solidarity, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, nobody in England is striking on this stuff. So if it's an English director, English writers, all English actors, and an entire English production crew, you could still make this movie.
I don't know what the rules are. Because, I know for a fact that Simon Pegg isn't doing anything.
Right. I'm sure a lot of people are not doing things. because they know the market is so big here and they don't want to alienate the guilds that they're part of here.
Right.
But, I mean, if Babs wanted to crank something out, she could be like, well, let's just get
Well, she'd look like a villain if she did that, though.
Is that not on brand for Barbara Broccoli anyway?
Well,
and the franchise?
At this point.
She should come out with like a bald wig on, just kind of go, I'm afraid that what we're going to have to do to get the fans a movie is just hire people no one knows that only live in England. I mean, I think of the opportunity that it would present if, because they couldn't do something, they had to pull in a young director from England. They had to bring in young writers from England. Unknown actors who are only part of the English acting
be some
guilds
weird
are.
low budget guerrilla shot.
And what if it was amazing?
It could. I mean, it's an interesting theory.
Right, an indie Bond movie, right?
That would be something else, actually. Because you'd have to actually, I don't know, use creativity and smarts to kind of figure out how to get around a lot of problems. Instead of saying, let's ship in this giant piece of ice from up north so we can film this down at Pinewood.
Right. No, I agree with you. In reality,
yes,
we're probably at least 5 years out.
You think so?
I think at the minimum, we're 3 years to hearing something's going to happen, and then they have to make that thing happen.
Right, because I am willing to bet nothing has been written. Nothing. There's not even
an idea out there.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, and I mean, I don't have a problem with waiting to cleanse the palate. Right?
Right.
You know, we got a definitive end to the Daniel Craig storyline.
Universe.
Right. There was nothing pending saying, because James Bond will not return, right?
Right.
And so it's a good reset, restart. Why rush it?
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's not like people are going to forget who James Bond is. But the further you get yourself away from Danny Boy and all of that, I think the more interest you generate rather than just people coming in and saying, oh, it's the next one. Now you got people going, I haven't seen one of those in a while. I bet this will be badass.
Right. I mean, my only concern is, are people just not going to care once it finally comes out?
Well, that's got to be a lot to do with whatever they're trying to present as Bond at that particular category, right?
Yeah.
If they bring in a person that everybody's hot and bothered over, you're going to get people to go see it because they're hot and bothered over whoever that person is.
Right.
If you write it as the intelligent option for a spy movie rather than run, look at my butt. My train is sideways, gravity, right? Because that's somebody else's shtick.
Yeah.
You know, because I can see it now. Let's return to the original spy adventure kind of thing.
I would love to see more intrigue brought back into Bond as opposed to being just an action set piece parade.
Right. I mean, I think that was the thing that I liked the most about Casino Royale was it felt like a spy movie.
Yeah.
There were stakes, but they were even kind of worldwide stakes, but they weren't what they eventually morphed into. Like everything has worldwide consequences.
Yes.
It turned into an MI movie, right?
Yeah.
Where every line is the world's going to die if we don't do this.
Sure.
Basically every Pierce Brosnan James Bond movie. But I'd love to see let's trim Bond back to what Bond was.
Yeah.
He's a spy. And again, I'll say this every single time. We take him back to the fucking 60s. Because that's when spies mattered.
Yeah. I mean, now there's so much technology that spies hardly matter anymore.
Right. Or write him into a situation where the guy has to be a person that's doing this story.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to explain it away. Because they tried to do that with Daniel Craig. It's always like, what is it, know when to shoot and also when know not to shoot kind of thing. So, you need that human thing. But that always kind of felt a little false to me with those stories.
I do like the idea, and I know this is kind of out of left field, but I kind of like the idea of if you're going to talk about bringing it back to actual spycraft and still keep it in present day, there's still stuff you can do with the element of honey trap spycraft where
Haley Atwell for Bond 2027. Keep going.
Well, I think about like From Russia with Love. Mm-hmm. That was a situation where it was like a honey trap, but it was obviously a trap and it was obviously to lure Bond out and to, and all that thing. But I think that could work. That's still something that resonates with people now because it's got the human element. It's not dependent on technology. It's dependent on persuading somebody.
Right.
it's bending somebody to your will.
Here's the big thing. I mean, Russia's helping out Bond's case now by being who they are.
Yeah.
Or at least who their government is. To our listeners in Russia, I think you're all wonderful.
And we do have a couple.
What really is the intriguing thing, and I'm about to get us cut off from China, is this would work with the Chinese government more than it does any other government that's out there.
Yeah.
Right? Because they are basically the Soviet Union of,
right.
of current decade, right? But you can't really have James Bond as an undercover agent in Beijing.
Well,
unless
he does kind of stick out a little bit.
Unless you change the character to be Asian, which it's not like you couldn't have an Asian MI6 agent in
This is very true.
Right?
Well, I mean, if you got Henry Golding to do it, who's been touted as a potential Bond actor.
That's all I'm saying. If you want to get back to nuts and bolts type of spy crafty stuff, where you have to go to get that is not the same as it was before, right?
Right.
I mean, if James Bond was an Israeli agent, yeah, we could be doing that till the end of time.
Right.
Right. But, you have to go where the enemies are to make that work. And could a good writer figure out a way to get a white James Bond into that? Of course they could.
Right.
Of course they could.
Without trying to disguise him as being Asian.
As happened in another James Bond movie 50 years ago.
50 years ago.
But I guess that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you're not going to take the franchise back to where
the stories actually took
place and would have been relevant as having human people involved, you have to put them in a situation where there's no other possibility for you to use other things.
Right.
And I honestly, like you said, I think in the world we live in, human intelligence is still important.
Yes.
But so much information can be gathered without it that, I mean, or you really play up the assassination portion of what James Bond does.
Yeah.
And you turn Bond from a spy to an assassin who gets caught in the middle of something that he has to be more spy-y with. I mean, I guess if you get enough monkeys in a room hitting typewriters, you get Shakespeare. So if you put enough heads into the writer's room, you can come up with a pretty decent idea.
Yeah.
It's just, I think there needs to be more outside the box thinking, get Bond out of the Mission Impossible model and get him back into the Bond model.
Yeah, the true like spycraft model.
Right. Or we just do a crossover with the Mission Impossible team, blend the franchises together, and you've got whatever pretty boy from England and Tom Cruise
at age 70.
At age 75, running the team with Haley Atwell and Simon Pegg, who's 65.
Right.
And Ving Rhames, who's a hologram. I don't know. But yes, to get back to your original question, it's going to be a minute before we get one.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, a lot of people are speculating, we'll have a new Bond movie by 2025 or 26. I'm like, no, we're not.
Well, and you can't discount the Amazon connection.
I mean, I know that Amazon is going to pressure them to like move forward with things, but I also know the way Barbara Broccoli is. And I also know that right now they're in a kind of awkward position where I honestly don't think Barbara Broccoli's that jazzed about being the head of James Bond anymore. And we're now looking at their kids, and Barbara Broccoli's daughter has already gone on record saying, well, I can't do what my mom does. Like she doesn't really want to take over the Bond franchise. Michael G. Wilson's kids have been more involved, but I think almost on a level where they're just kind of happy to be on the ride. Right. But they don't necessarily want to drive the bus.
Right.
And
I think that once we get to that point, Bezos is just off there with his Lex Luthor haircut, waiting in the wings going, I'm just going to write him a big check when we get to that point.
Yeah, because they're going to finally, I think at some point, the Broccoli family is going to throw their hands up in the air and they're going to sell.
Take the money and run. Because the person who's going to be courting you has more money than anybody else on the planet.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a big payday. Amazon would love to have the IP. Right?
Yeah.
Because then all the Bond people are going to start complaining about how much shitty Bond stuff there is out there, like the Star Wars people are complaining about all the shitty Star Wars stuff, and the Marvel people are going to get, hey, remember when you had nothing?
Now,
nothing's always a winner. Did you guys not see Attack of the Clones?
It's not going to be interesting for the next 2 years, but it will be interesting in about 7 years.
Yes, absolutely.
And things are going to get even more complicated because we're quickly approaching, I believe it's 2034 when Bond goes into public domain. Now, granted, even when that happens, people who try and make James Bond movies at that point won't be able to use the Monty Norman theme. They probably won't be able to use the gun barrel walk. but they'll still be able to use the character.
It's going to be never say never again across the board.
Yeah, all over the place. Yeah. So that could make things really interesting too. But again, I think we're all going to have to wait about somewhere between 7 and 10 years. So everybody drink your orange juice and go for a walk and stay alive, because it's going to be a little while before we actually get another Bond movie.
Yeah, there's ways around that kind of stuff too, in terms of protecting those kinds of public domain. I mean, Disney's been fighting it with Mickey Mouse, right, for the last 25 years. Keep getting extensions, things of that nature. And at the end of the day, they can't use the image of Mickey Mouse that Disney has.
Right.
That's trademarked.
Sure.
Right. So the character of Steamboat Willie could be used, but any iteration from that point on can't. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to someday we get this little blurb when you click onto Amazon Prime and it goes, Zon, Amazon. And then it's just like a whole channel full of Bond vomiting stuff everywhere.
Oh, the fans will love that.
Oh, I can't wait to watch the Bond community, which they are right there on par with the Star Wars community. I'm telling you right now.
They're a volatile bunch.
They are.
Especially right now. Oof.
Like, they'll get a decent show and they'll be like, this is actually really good Bond. Then the next one will come out, a story about Q, and everybody will just lambaste the whole thing.
Right. It'll be like the Boba Fett of...
Exactly. The Book of Q. And they'll be like, it only got good when Bond came in episode 6. Take these predictions to heart, people. When you're listening to this 10 years later and we're referring back to it, you're going to come back to this episode and go, those guys are fucking geniuses. Not scholarly geniuses,
no,
but geniuses nonetheless.
Indeed. So what about you, tens of listeners? When do you think we'll actually get a new, actual, legit piece of news about Bond 26? You should let us know. You should get in touch with us. We have many outlets that you can get in touch with us over email at cicdeaddrop@gmail.com. On Instagram, it's Central Intelligence Cinema, separated by underscores. And it's the same thing on Threads, on X, Twitter. It's at CIC Spy Pod for as long as he doesn't charge us, because once that happens, we're out. And then Blue Sky Social, at cicspypod.bsky.social. And all of those will be at the bottom of the show description of this very episode.
And we do also actually have one new channel for all the telepaths out there. I'm going to give you my link. And feel free to respond any way you want. Do try and keep the responses before 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time over here, because I'm sleeping and getting ready to do more silly spy shit the next day.
Indeed. Any last thoughts, Jason?
7 of our tens of listeners got that.
Oh,
joke.
That's a good one, by the way.
What's that?
That was the thing you just said. But we're back, and we got much more to come. Trust me, we're going to get into it the rest of this year, man. So with that, I'm Ben.
And I'm Jason.
And the CIC will return with more missions, more martinis,
and more mayhem.